Hi, welcome to the Artists Forum. I am your host for tonight, Rebecca L. Hargrove. And joining me this evening, I have some very special guests from the Educational Video Center, also known as the EVC, here in New York City, which is a nonprofit organization that focuses on making documentary-style films with the youth here in the city, and that focuses on social justice and social change. And joining them this evening is Mary Gruster, who is the director of the We Are All Connected program at the EVC, and Emmanuel Garcia, who serves as an instructor and co-director for the short films. Welcome, everybody. Okay, so Mary, can you just give us a little bit of background on the EVC and tell us about the history of the organization?
Sure, Rebecca. Thank you so much for having us tonight. We're so excited to be here and share our film with everyone. Educational Video Center was founded by Steve Goodman, and we've been around in New York City for over 35 years. We started inside of schools working with youth, and we've grown to after-school programs and also now to a national program with We Are All Connected. We Are All Connected originally started in the 1980s as EVC was growing and getting its legs. Steve formed a partnership with Tennessee organizers, community organizers there in the rural eastern Tennessee Appalachian region. And he worked with them creating summer camps and talking about social issues in the environment, about coal and water and toxins for several years in the 80s. And now in response to the 2016 elections and how polarized our country is, we revived the program. And in 2017, we rekindled our relationship with our Tennessee organizers and started the We Are All Connected program.
And Emmanuel, can you just give us a little bit of information about your part as an instructor in the organization?
Yeah, sure. So as the instructor, along with Mary, we've led 4 students from New York City and took them to the Clear Fork Valley in northeastern Tennessee. Good about 20-hour drive. And in Tennessee, we had the group, the folks who we were working with at the Parent Resource Center in Campbell County had identified 4 other students there. And so for about a week, we lived together, worked together, and the students created a documentary film on the topic of opioids, which they collectively chose due to the fact that that is an issue that is both plaguing communities out in rural Tennessee as well as here in New York City. Particularly, we focused on the South Bronx. And so for a week, students chose their topic, filmed it, researched, shot interviews, and then edited all together into a story in which we had a screening there at the end of the week. We also, for 6 months, the groups then worked separately. The students came back to New York, kept working on the film. The students in Tennessee kept adding to the film. And then the final film, which you will watch tonight, was what they ended up putting together. The group in Tennessee then came to New York City, and they had their big screening at Hostos Community College in the South Bronx.
That's amazing. Okay, so for our viewers tonight, we actually have a few of the filmmakers here with us. And I would love to hear from you guys about your experience in Tennessee and how did you even come to find the common ground to even use the topic of the opioid epidemic?
I'm Serena. I'm originally from Florida, and I moved to New York about a little over 2 years ago, I would say. And when I first got started with EVC, I was really already interested in like photography, filmmaking, going along that route, but I didn't know really how to put together my own films. So I started with a youth documentary workshop, and I did one film, and then we started this WAC program. And that just led me down a completely different road that I wasn't prepared for, but I'm like so grateful that I started this journey. So, yeah.
My name is Ellis, and I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, and I moved here like 5 years ago. And so my school was partnered with EVC for internship, because instead of doing the state exam, we did internship for credits. I decided to join EVC because you never know, like I always like to explore new stuff. It was just so great. Like I'm so happy. Like I even got published in a book.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you guys joined the EVC and then you joined the WAC program, which is a part of that. You go down to Tennessee and working with the other students in Tennessee, like what was that like?
Well, I mean, I think with anything you kind of have your reservations or like your preconceived thoughts, you know? So we kind of had like this idea maybe we're not going to get along with them, maybe it's going to be difficult to work with them. But in the end, it was, you know, everything worked out. We got along great. And one thing actually is there's no service out there, you know, in rural Tennessee. So one thing that drove us together is not being able to use our phones. Because, you know, today everybody's like plastered to the screen. Yeah, so, but yeah, you know, we like made friends for life out there. So, and working with them, you know, was good. You know, they bring their ideas, we bring ours, and then now we have this amazing film.
So what was the process for coming up with the documentary Hope?
I mean, I think we kind of all came together and thought about the different issues we had in our respective communities, and then we shared them with each other, and then we kind of voted, oh, which one do we have most in common, which one is the most prominent, and then we came up with the opioid crisis.
So then from that point, because you only had a week together, so you get to know one another, you realize you have this common ground with this epidemic, and then what? Like, what's your next step? Like, had you guys made a film before, and did you know what to do?
So Serena and I, we had been part of EBC before. Right that summer, we went to Tennessee. So we basically knew what we were doing. We were just like helping them.
And I think as far as like the process of making the film goes, there were some long days. But in the end, it's like, it's truly rewarding, like what you can create. And yeah, you know, every day was just a new adventure for us in Tennessee, and then even eventually when the Tennessee students came to New York, you know, it was like a whole adventure for them too. Yeah.
So tonight our viewers are in for a treat, and they're going to be able to see the world television premiere of Hope. Enjoy.
Viene ella. Llámate a Salah ahora, por favor, dile que tenemos una emergencia en la tienda.
America Addicted. Opioids are now the biggest drug epidemic in American history.
Going back to 1999, from then until 2015, the Centers for Disease Control say that the amount of opioid prescriptions in this country quadrupled. Also during that same time period, you can see that the amount of overdose deaths from opioids similarly quadrupled. Of course, it's ticked up even more in recent years because of the addition of fentanyl.
Opioid.
The opioid epidemic. Every day, 91 Americans die from an overdose of opioids, which include prescription painkillers and heroin.
The We're All Connected program aims to connect rural and urban communities. Our team is made up of 4 students from Tennessee and 4 from New York City.
Investigating critical social problems plaguing rural and urban communities such as the opioid crisis, we are making our voices heard through this film and a common website.
What is the biggest problem with our community?
OPIOIDs and meth.
Biggest problem in my community is drugs and alcohol. It's gotten worse over the last 4 years.
But that's the main thing that's here in Jellicoe is the drugs and the alcohol.
Like you said, everybody pretty much deals with it around here. And with it being a small community, just anybody who is addicted, it kind of affects everybody. But my dad was an addict for a long time, probably up until just about a couple years ago. And it was, you know, it's hard when you have somebody like that. My dad was, my stepdad was, my mom was.
When I first got elected, there was a real bad meth problem. Then the pills got to where they were readily available and folks could get their narcotics in pill form. And now we're seeing that when the folks are not getting the pills, we've been seeing some heroin here. This is bigger than anything I've seen in years, and I've been in law enforcement 25 years.
you see Tennessee. When I was talking about Tennessee was people was coming from there to buy the pills and everything to bring them out there. And it's something like here because, I mean, I've been to Georgia, to the CDC out there. I've been to Florida. I've been to Baltimore. I go everywhere. And you believe it or not, it's like the Bronx.
The South Bronx has always been, I wouldn't say always, but has for many, many decades been a center for drug distribution on the East Coast of the United States.
Really, that's the only jobs that we have out here. And that's how we make a living, and that's how many of kids eat out here. I mean, besides from people taking that money and shooting up drugs, they're also feeding their families, you know?
This isn't new. People are talking about like this second coming of an opioid crisis, and this didn't go away. People just kind of stopped paying attention to it because certain communities don't receive the same kind of attention and are criminalized for their drug use.
Every 7 hours somebody dies of an overdose, and about like half of the overdoses in the city involve opiates. People are dying and they shouldn't be.
We've seen this drastic increase in overdose deaths. And in the Bronx, there was a 46% increase in overdose deaths just in the last couple of years.
I put it in comparison, this is the Bronx in New York City. That's why you hear Bronx, New York City. But it's no different than rural Tennessee, Baltimore, or anywhere else.
The crimes related to drug addiction in our county are probably, I would say, 98% of the people we have incarcerated. If it's not an actual drug charge, it's a drug-related offense that caused them to do the crime.
Well, I think that policing has largely stayed the same, even though they say they do different things. They pretty much do the same thing. I didn't really see much different, new and novel there.
You just can't take somebody off the streets, take them off of drugs, and think it's just going to work like that and it's going to stop. It don't work that way.
The big problem that I think I'm learning or being challenged by is that criminal justice is the only response that we really have.
There's still too many people that think that locking people up is a way to go.
I don't think that us making the arrest helps the problem at all. Being incarcerated will not get you straight.
I don't think that will solve anything. I mean, it won't solve the problem, you know, the addiction problem. It don't matter if it gets put in jail, you know, for a period of time. That's not gonna make him better. You know, it'll probably make him worse. When he gets out, he's still gonna get high.
Because the police arrest him, an hour later they're back out doing the same thing over and over and over. It's just like something that you keep turning the wheel, goes around and around.
I think that you need more programs instead of sending people to jail for selling drugs and stuff like that. Open up more programs.
I think all the money that we spend on prisons and we spend on the court system, if that money was refocused on treatments that work.
My name is Cliff Branham. I'm the founder and the director of Springs of Life Recovery Center. We're a faith-based, long-term recovery center. Really what we want to do is we want to offer family to these guys. We want to offer resources they've never had. We want to love them in a way they've never been loved. We want to offer good counseling, so if there is trauma in their life, that they can receive healing in that area of their life.
I mean, literally, I believe that with all my heart and all my soul. When it comes to access, you take an addict and you can drop him in the middle of the desert without water or food, and they're gonna find their drugs that they're looking for. It's right here in this area. I mean, we're right dead smack in the middle of it. You can't walk out the front of this building without seeing 3 or 4 addicts who are sick and suffering, and it breaks my heart. It's everywhere. Access is not a problem. Getting access to help is the problem.
Help and how I got help was here at Boom Help. People used to tell me, how can you go to harm reduction and get help? But I came here in 2001. The last time I did a bag of heroin was in 2002. I've been clean ever since.
Boom Health is a service and advocacy organization dedicated to the harm reduction principles and practices. We focused on how they deal with the opioid crisis and their role in harm reduction services.
Boom Health has helped me a lot.
Provided a lot of helpful information about opiate use.
So it's an excellent place, you know, to help addicts.
I've been with Boom for a long time, and this is like my second home.
You see a lot of addicts out on these corners in the city, you know, and sometimes you see them like this, and and if there's no response, you can save that person's life. That person can possibly die. This is a Narcan kit right here. It's an emergency Narcan kit right here. You know, that person could possibly die.
Thank God that now they got this thing called Narcan that, you know, they give it to you and, you know, they'll save your life. Well, back then they didn't have that, so if they didn't catch you on time, you know, you'll be in the grave.
Naloxone, it's medication that takes the opiate from the receptor in the brain, and as it takes the opiate from the receptor, the person regains the reflex to breathe.
Good afternoon, everybody. Happy New Year. My name is Brandon Munoz. I'm a health educator at Boom Health, and I'm going to teach you guys how to reverse overdose by using naloxone Narcan. It saves lives. Seen it work myself plenty of times. Saves lives. First thing you see is somebody having trouble breathing. They're not responsive. You know, hey, what's up? Shake them up. They're not moving. We have this technique we call the sternum rub, right? So what it is, everybody make a fist, like you're about to punch somebody. All right. Now, go into the middle of your chest and rub as hard as you can. That hurts, right? So, if they're having an overdose, nothing's gonna happen. They're gonna still be out. When you come to that point and that person is not responding, first thing you wanna do is call 911. You call 911, you let the operator know, hey, I'm with somebody, they're not responsive, they're not breathing. Never use the word overdose, ever. Never use the word, they'll take their time. Now you're gonna go into action. You did your sternum rub, you call 911, you got your Narcan ready, you're gonna tilt the head back, you're gonna pick a nostril, you're gonna stick this piece right here, all the way up the nostril as far as you can, and you're gonna spray one time, right? It's definitely needed. A lot of people overdosing, a lot. And it's happening everywhere. It's happening all over the country. I think everybody should know about Narcan now. Like prescription drugs and everything is just, it's too much right now. There's a lot going on. There's too many people dying. So we try to get as much people as we can.
You can request a prescription for naloxone and it will be given without any questions. We are trying to increase the availability of naloxone both to patients and their family members, and teaching them how to use that if they find their family member with an overdose.
And I always carry naloxone. Like I have it in I have 2 or 3 bags I carry with me, and I have in every bag I have naloxone and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, I think you don't, and the plan isn't to just always check on everybody and think that everybody's overdosing, but be on the lookout and just be a good Samaritan.
I think what you're doing as far as raising awareness is really, really important. The more awareness that's created with projects like this, I think the better our future will look.
What we could do together is maybe go into schools and set up some programs to talk and see both sides of it and educate.
Help to reduce harm, Get out there and do harm reduction outreach. That's what it's about.
People who use drugs are also people. And changing the language and saying, for example, people who use drugs instead of derogatory terms like junkie or addict, right? That actually highlights the fact that they are people and this is a behavior they might engage in. but there's not a lot of other behaviors that we kind of place as the sole identity on a person, right? You're a lot of things, right? But for some reason, if you use drugs, then that's all you are. And we have to change that.
He needs love, first of all, you understand? And he needs somebody like a, listen to him, what's going on, you understand? All addicts got problems. All addict, he needs somebody that can express what he feel inside.
You know, like having meetings and trying to help the community, but the community has to get involved because this is the community, this is where it's happening.
No, I think that the experience of meeting the people who are directly affected by all of this is something that will motivate you or not to do something. And then you'll have a better idea what to do, or what you'd like to do, you know? Everybody can make a different contribution. Not everybody wants to do the same thing. But seeing it firsthand with your own two eyes, you can't substitute, you know, that experience, you know? And I think the experience of meeting people who are opiate users, you know, people who are using opiates, and meeting more than one of them will give you a perspective on the problem that you can't get from reading or watching film or anything like that.
Okay, I'm wondering, what is it like for you people? I mean, you all come from different parts of the country, and I mean, some of you, well, I don't think, Nicole, you've ever been to down south, and you two haven't been up to New York City, and yet you're stuck in these cabins with each other. You're living together, you're working very hard, long hours. What was it like? Who can tell me something that you've learned from each other, you know, living and working together?
It's very different from New York.
But like when you gotta like hang out with them 24/7, that just like brings you closer together.
I guess we were like a lot more alike than we thought.
This program make it special because we get to travel and we get knowledge out of it. When we went to Tennessee, I learned a lot of their cultural, like their way, their lifestyle and stuff.
And I think just like exposure to the culture and actually instead of just like reading about the problem, then you actually get to like live it for yourself.
And I think that this project is special is because we actually like get to learn about something that affects like people's everyday life. Like if we would have done it on something else, I don't think it would have been as special. Like it's special because like I don't know, we're trying to make a change.
On three, whack.
1, 2, 3, whack!
And that was the world television premiere of Hope, Helping Open People's Eyes. So since the film has been completed and you all have wrapped the production of it, what has happened or what do you hope to happen next?
So far, since we completed our film, it took us to the Allied Media Conference in Detroit. We got to go there and represent EVC and, you know, showcase our film. It took us to MozFest in London. 2 of our students went there. They've been featured on PBS Tennessee, a couple of newspapers. So, you know, and now this. So it's really taking off, I think.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and it's worth it because like when we were in Tennessee staying there for 1 week, one of the challenges was that our equipment was stolen because of the opioid crisis happening there.
Wow. But you were still able to complete everything even though that had happened.
Yeah, we found a way.
Wow, that's truly amazing. And I'm so happy I had a chance to see the film because I surely didn't know that that was also an epidemic in such a rural area as Tennessee. So thank you guys so much for making that film. Thank you to the Tennessee students that assisted in that. And I'm just so proud of you guys. Congratulations on everything. Thank you for joining us this evening. And if you would like more information on the EVC, you can follow the link at the bottom of our page. Thank you for tuning in this evening. And again, I am your host, Rebecca L. Hargrove. And this is the Artists Forum.
The Artists Forum. Get connected. Be heard.
The Artists Forum is a place where artists of all disciplines can network, collaborate, and showcase their work.
On the Artists Forum's AFTV, you'll see interviews with New York's emerging talents in theater, dance, music, visual arts, written word, as well as insights from industry insiders.
Watch us on MNN every other Thursday at 7:30 p.m. I'm Lisa Nicole Wilkerson.
And I'm Rebecca L. Hargrove.
We'll see you on the Artists Forum.